Welcome to our next panel discussion, Digitalization, Industrial Processes in Aerospace. I think a highly relevant topic, be it for the OEMs, but of course also for the suppliers. I mean, a topic which definitely has been hyped over the past years. So the question is, what's in? What are the real what is the real benefit of digitalization, or what needs to be done to scale up? So quickly introduce myself. My name is Jan Wille. I'm your moderator today. I'm a partner at Strategy End. Strategy End is a strategy consulting branch of PwC. So the company was formerly known as Booz Allen Hamilton, which was acquired by PwC a couple of years ago. And at PwC, I lead our aerospace and defense business in the EMEA region. And on the panel today, we have Delphine Bazaud. Delphine is the SVP Industrial Supply Chain and Digital Operations at Airbus. Then we have Carsten Laufs, SVP Product Innovation and Digitalization at Diehl Aviation. We have Norbert Steinkemper, VP at Broetje-Automation, and Vinod Balakrishnan, VP Aerospace and Defense at L&T Technology. Our panelists will introduce themselves in a minute and tell us a little bit more about their digitization journey in their intro statements. Let's start maybe with a slide that I prepared for this panel. So, I mean, the basis for digitalization is apparently data. So data is the fuel of digitalization. And looking at this Gartner hype cycle for data and AI, we see that we are currently in a phase of refocus, so a little bit down there. We have the earlier hype phase behind us, and in this hype phase we saw a lot of data-driven showcases and pilots, but this was followed by some disillusionment because too many different tools and the lack of data quality make it difficult to scale up and harvest the benefits of digitalization, which is of course true for a company or for an industry like aerospace. Of course, if you're a greenfield like a Tesla or so, this is always much easier, but in aerospace, where you have hundreds and thousands of tools in place, all different kinds of data structures, it's of course, there are certain hurdles that need to be overcome. So there was a little bit, I mean, we call it here the valley of disillusionment, and the question is now how we can overcome it and reach this, what we call here the plateau of productivity. I mean, we see more and more companies emerging from this valley of disillusionment and creating real tangible value, and to do so, successful companies select digitalization use cases that can be leveraged cross-domain and have proven their multi-site deployment capability. So it's important, if you choose a digitalization use case, not to go to the maximum what is possible on the technology side, but you need to take the scale up and the deployment into consideration early on. And these successful companies have implemented scalable delivery models, and they maintain strong partnerships with software vendors and service providers. So a few companies are mentioned here, like Tesla, of course, different situation, starting greenfield, but also Volkswagen. I mean, they had the disillusionment as well, but they are better on track now. Covestro and also ZF could be mentioned as an example. So the question today is, where does the aerospace industry stand in this cycle? And what we can maybe also potentially learn from others to foster the digitalization journey of our industry. So far the introduction. So may I ask you now to introduce yourselves and tell us a bit more about your biggest digitalization achievements of the past months and years. So maybe Delphine, you want to start?
Yes, good morning everybody. My name is Delphine Bazaud. I'm working in Airbus commercial aircraft in operations, currently leading industrial supply chain and digital operations. So what does it mean? It's about planning, supply management, logistics and transport operational activities. It's about managing the associated processes and orchestrating the digitalization for the operations perimeter. Maybe to come back to your question, what have been our biggest achievements in the last months or years? I would say that Airbus has been engaged in digitalization for a while already, and we can fully recognize ourselves in the curve that you have just shown. So creating a lot of new solutions, solutions that have proliferated, I could say. So what we have done in the last months is nothing really fancy. It's more stepping back, looking at what we have done so far, and really rethinking, okay, what is our strategy for the digitalization of our operations? How do we find the right balance between deploying key backbones like standard PLM, ERP, MES, etc., and working to prepare the future with no regret moves on end-to-end planning, supplier collaboration, and last but not least, how do we equip our teams with solutions to help them in the today's situation with some data and analytics solutions, and insisting also on putting in place a proper governance around data, because the first thing you need and the bread and butter for digitalization is having data, clean data, accurate data, available data that is managed by the business owners. So that's, I would say, what we have done in the last months.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, welcome everybody. And as Jan already mentioned, my name is Carsten Laufs, and I'm responsible for innovation and digitalization at Diehl Aviation. So I do have the pleasure to combine two great assets for the future, innovation and digitalization. And if you asked me to name one highlight, it's very difficult because, I mean, there are several highlights and several small steps we actually pursue at Diehl Aviation. And Jörg Schuler has mentioned already a few in the previous session. And but maybe I want to point out two things when we are talking about the end-to-end process, because we're looking at the complete value chain. This is important for us as a supplier. So in the input side, where we collaborate with our customers, there is one highlight when we talk about specifications. We all work with specifications every day. They're usually very manual, but we have achieved in a proof of concept that we can work with machine-readable data, and we can transfer specification items in a digital way and actually process them. So I think that's one very big achievement. It shows that the technology is available today and the people are ready to work with that. When we go further down the end-to-end process and enter into production, I want to point out augmented reality. This is not something for the future. It's already there today, and we have successfully implemented, or we are on the way of successfully implementing augmented reality for the production in one of our production lines for a very complex product. And this is actually supporting the production then. So if you ask me, those are probably my personal highlights. And data analytics, we have already briefly discussed this morning as well. That's another one, but we'll come to that later.
Absolutely. Yeah, Norbert?
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Norbert Steinkemper, representing Broetje-Automation here. What do? We build large automated systems to assemble aircraft. We start from small robots up to entire manufacturing lines. And my personal highlight this year, I would say I need a bit explain the story. So since COVID, we started to do something which we call virtual commissioning. So starting up machines even before they are built, because during COVID we couldn't build them as we want. We couldn't travel to the customers, so we had to be creative here. And this year we achieved a full virtual commissioning for an entire line for one of our customers. If you imagine an assembly line is a highly complex system, lots of manual work, also some automated work, and thanks to digitalization, we were able to test all the functions, all the software, all the safety software especially, that is in such a station, even before the station was built. So, and very often we talk about virtual twins. I don't like the term so much because in fact it's not a virtual twin of the original machine or the original system, it's vice versa. We meanwhile have the digital system first and then we build the copy of the digital version of the machine.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. This is Vinod here. I am part of an organization called Larsen & Toubro Technology Services. We are a digital engineering system integrator providing digital engineering services to aerospace and other verticals. One of the advantages as a system integrator we have is cross-leveraging our experience in other verticals and bringing that to the verticals which is upcoming. And when you look at the digitization trends, I think aerospace is just coming up right now with most of the other technologies which have already been used in the other sectors. And one of the biggest things which we have done is namely two. One is the manufacturing side where implementing smart factories and Industry 4.0 for 40 plus factories and improving their efficiencies for our clients. So as a system integrator, when we provide value to the client, that's when the client likes us, and that's how the relationship goes forward. The second thing which we did, which we also consider quite well, is building the foundation layer data so that you can build a complete 3D model of a complete plant on top of it, which means actual digitization of the entire asset for our clients, and they can actually do many things, like one of the examples as my colleague shared here. So these are two examples which we would like to put forward.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introductions and for these impressive examples. Three topics that we would like to discuss today. So data analytics, the first one, we already touched it, apparently. Then the second one, robotics and automation. And the third one, digital supply chain collaboration, a topic which has already been addressed throughout this conference several times. Yeah, so let's start with data analytics. Maybe Delphine, starting with you. What are the most promising areas of applications for data and analytics in operations or industrial processes?
Well, just reflecting on what we have discussed and debated since the beginning of this forum, I think we have shared a lot about the current situation we are facing in this aviation ecosystem. So geopolitical tensions, disruptions in the supply chain, in the transport, raw material shortages, etc. So to be able to cope with all these issues, what we need is to equip our teams with the right solutions to be able to understand and anticipate, to be able to react and adapt. So what we expect from the analytics solutions is first to help us understand what's happening. So looking in the past, how to automate root cause analysis, for example. If I take a very typical example, you have a missing part in your chain, but where does it come from? Is it because logistics didn't do their job? Is it because the supplier didn't deliver? Is it because the raw material was not ordered by the supplier? Is it because manufacturing engineering has changed a parameter influencing the demand? So understanding, doing proper root cause analysis to understand the issues and take the right actions is a key point. And the other side is the forward-looking view, because we need to be able to anticipate and react. So everything linked to early warning systems, simulation, projection, to be able to take the right decision at the right point in time. I think this is what we are expecting today from data and analytics.
Yeah, Carsten, how is it at Diehl?
Yeah, I want to look at it from a different perspective, basically from the product perspective, but the same elements apply to the product as well. So because we have gained some very well experience throughout the last years with data analytics, because when you look at the development of our products, we create data, valuable data every day during development, during testing, during production, during quality testing, and of course when we do repair and maintenance on electronic equipment. We at Diehl have a very widespread product portfolio, but specifically for those electronic products, data analytics is very interesting because it applies that we can collect this data, we can interpret this data, and can make assumptions for the future. And so we have created dashboards analyzing all this data. And those are actually achievements throughout the last months and years we have gained. And I think these apply not only to the product, but also to the processes. And those are the next steps to come.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks. Yeah, of course, if you handle data, cybersecurity becomes an issue as well. So, Vinod, what is the importance of cybersecurity by digitizing industrial processes, and how can companies protect themselves?
Yeah, I mean, as you very correctly said, once you have your new systems in place, protecting them becomes very, very important, right? And if you look at other industries also, if you look at healthcare, there has been so many attacks in that industry, which has led to data loss, ransomware, or whatever you want to call it. Energy utilities, another sector, you've seen a big amount of attack happening and some pipelines being shut and things like that. And with aerospace, like I was telling before, we are getting into that new technology wave, right? With so much of influence of these outside the other sectors coming into aerospace. This sector is also getting, have to get ready for being protective and making sure that there is no outside influence which can disrupt your day-to-day function. And there are some basic parameters which, if you keep it in place, I think you can achieve what you want to, right? One is having a clear view of what you want to do and how you want to achieve it. Clear and simple, rather than making it complicated at all. Then what we are seeing in the industry is convergence of IT and OT. So you need to have a strategy that you are looking at IT and OT together rather than looking at it from a silos point of view. And once you have seen that, then you know what it is. And then what is your third point is what is your future roadmap, right? Where are you going to invest? What are the technologies you're going to invest in? How secure those technologies will be for you as a company. And once you do that, then you assess do you have the right people with the domain experience and the IT experience to see whether this is where they can actually protect and give me the right way forward. So if you have at least these three blocks in place, I think that will really help any company, for that matter, to look at it.
Okay. Yeah, and Norbert, beyond cyber, which other hurdles and limitations of scaling up data-driven use cases do you see in your own company and probably at your customers?
Maybe a good example would be one of our products. So we build drilling and riveting machines, and these machines have to be programmed via NC programs. So, and one challenge I would see, and it has been said in earlier podiums also, is the availability of the data. So the data that we have and the information that we have are in many different formats. In our case, you have a CAD file from the part that we have to rivet. We have another CAD file of the machine. But we have also, or we need also manufacturing information. So how exactly does the part needs to be tackled? So this information very often comes as a PDF file. So it's not really digitalized. It can be also an XML file that provides us information about every single rivet, the different types of rivets that we had. So what we had to do in order to have an efficient NC programming is really set a common standard, bring all these data together to create a full digital twin, not only of the part, or not only of the machine, but of the entire process. Once we have closed this hole, we enable many other functions. We are much more flexible in fast programming. We can change programs. In aerospace, we have highly complicated products. You always have deviations in the standard process, so each part is slightly different. So it's much easier to adapt our programming of the machine to the situation that we find. And we can keep this digital thread and document also what we do in the process. So we can easily show, even while the machine is still running, we can show all quality data, any deviations that are out of the tolerances and so on. And this opens again new possibilities, for example, for the quality assurance that comes afterwards and gains some new efficiency. If you're interested, I really can recommend, join my colleague who is here. You can program an NC program just by drawing a line. It takes you seconds. And you also already have your NC program ready. You can simulate it in a few seconds again, and then the machine is ready to run. This is only possible because we managed to have this level of data.
Yeah.
If we have separate data streams, it doesn't help us at all.
Yeah, thank you. And now, please, to the audience, be prepared. We want to do a little poll. Yeah, so take your mobile phones and log into Slido. So, I mean, the current big thing on data analytics is apparently AI or even generative AI. I mean, everybody probably knows ChatGPT, and I can tell you, we as consultants, we really love it. It makes our life much easier. But is there also a value in the industrial world? Yeah, so I would like you, what you think. Is Gen AI or AI in aerospace industrial processes, is it just a hype, or is there real business value behind it? So, clearly not a hype, not a temporary hype. And a bit undecided if the value will come later or if we have it already today. Yeah, so may I ask you to quickly comment on it? What are your thoughts on AI? So maybe, Vinod, we start with you.
Well, it really depends on the industry and the use case a person is looking at, right? I mean, I'm just trying to answer the question there. If it is small and tangible and you're getting your benefits faster, then you will come out with saying that, yes, it's useful. And there are many cases in design and iterative design where, you are finding benefits of self-learning, right? Wherein it's coming back with answers, it's coming back with the right answers and helping you cut down on a lot of repeatable items. So I think definitely, if you ask me, there is a tangible business case. It's up to us how to mature that over a period of time, in short.
Yeah, from my point of view, it's a simple question, I think, because technically speaking, in the machines and in our area, it's already there. So that's no question anymore. But I also agree, with the more popular generative AI like ChatGPT and so on. What we now have, we have a transition into the normal world. Everybody now can touch it, can try it, can work with it, and I think we still start to explore what is possible to even expand the applications further. But as I said, currently we use it, for example, for image recognition, so to recognize objects, to verify is it the right part in the machine. So things like this are there already, and I think if we get this next step out of the IT expert scene onto everyday work, that's still a huge potential that we can leverage now.
And maybe I can pick up on that because I truly believe it's not an IT issue. It's an issue for the complete company or the complete ecosystem, basically. And I completely agree with the answers here because I think that's the situation most of the companies in aerospace business are in right now. So yes, we believe there is a value, but there is a cost to that as well. And we have to learn our lesson how to create that value. Absolutely. Because same applies for digitalization, and AI is just one part of digitalization, I believe. And it's hard to answer that for that complexity, basically, because there are so many fields of application you can use that on products, on processes, in different departments and functions within the company. So what is coming first and what is coming last, and this is where everybody makes up their mind right now. But it's not something for the far future, it's already here right now. And so we have tried it and used it, and just took a look at our everyday work. There are people out there collecting data, interpret data, analyze it, and then they make their assumptions and present that to somebody else, and they make their decision. And this can be supported by artificial intelligence, and this is something we should take advantage of.
Mm-hmm. Delphine?
Well, yes, I think we are probably late on this aspect in our industry. Some other industries are already hiring specialists who are able to specify needs to AI while we are still debating on is it useful or not. So we probably need to accelerate, yes, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for these statements. Yeah, maybe let's come to the next topic. So, Vinod, what is the role and impact of digital twin technology in digitalization and realizing efficiency in industrial aerospace processes?
I think digital twin, like AI now, was a very hot topic some time back, right? And I think as the industry trend, I think aerospace started to accept digital twin and try to implement digital twin slightly later than the other industry. And it's quite natural because the amount of complexities we deal with aerospace domain as such was very, very high. And the technologies also had not emerged, so much. So when you look at the digital twin here, there are various aspects, and I'll break it down. In design, you can use to see, from what you want as a concept to design to, manufacture, and you can actually see that entire life cycle dependency, what will happen when you change the parameters rather than waiting for that physical prototype to be built. And that saves a lot of time in terms of time, effort, energy, because you can simulate all those things very clearly in the early part of the design itself, right? And you can do a lot of iterations, do all your combinations which you want, which is really, really helping. This is in the design aspect. When you look at the manufacturing aspect, you can actually get all the sensor data, all the manufacturing data together, and then actually make a simulation and digital twin of that. Which will give you, again, efficiencies, which will help you, which equipment may fail, come to predictive maintenance of that equipment, reduce your downtime for the manufacturing aspects. Same thing for flight operations. When you look at, in the aerospace industry, which equipments in the aircraft may fail, may not fail, what will happen, what kind of efficiencies which we can improve, and so on and so forth. And then when you club all these things together, and make a superset, gives you a full life cycle view, right? Where you can do and what you can do and so on and so forth. So yes, it will play a very important role, but also the underlying fact is what is the data you're feeding into it. Yeah. If you feed the right data, you get the right results. If you feed crap, then I'm sorry to use that word, but then you will not be able to realize the value. So it's really up to how you make your systems up from the foundation, make it right, you get the right benefits. But yes, it's a fantastic tool which is going to help the industry quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you said it was a hype a few years ago, and expectations were apparently high. Execution a bit more difficult.
Yes.
And you mentioned a few of these challenges. But I mean, what do you think? What needs to be done? In particular in a brownfield industry. I mean, we have the tools in place, we have the data in place. So what do we need to do to deliver on these promises?
Well, like I said, the first important aspect is to put the right data in place in the silos, right? Which will actually then add to what end results you will get, right? Your strategy should be really, really correct as to what you want to do. Put that in the place and then look at what are the important parameters which are affecting your day-to-day operations. Whether is it the design time which you want to cut down, is it the manufacturing operations efficiency which you want to increase, or you want to actually increase, the aircraft downtime and so on and so forth. Once you do that correctly with respect to the right data, I think you will definitely get benefits, because there are tools and technologies in place today to give you that benefit. But like I said, the right data has to be there. So I think that is the fundamental aspect. Put the right thing in, and today's technologies will give you the right output which you want. We also discussed about AI, and that's also playing a role in getting you the right digital twin. But put the right data in.
Good. Good. Yeah, maybe let's come to the next topic, automation. Yeah, so maybe Norbert, specifically to you. I mean, aerospace is clearly low volume and therefore difficult to automate or automate industry. On the other hand, automation technologies have largely evolved over the past years. So what do you think, which automation and robotics trends do you see, and what can we expect in the coming years?
Yeah, actually, I think automation is there for at least 4 or 5 decades in the aerospace industry. So we always feel like we are not so much automated. Yes, maybe we are not so much automated like other sectors, but given our circumstances, I think we are already have achieved a lot. So in the past years, what we saw, if you would like to summarize it or make it a headline, it would be automation gets closer to the worker. This started with more flexible factories. So we have mobile systems, for example. So we changed somehow the system, like not bringing the part to a fixed machine, but also make the machine movable to be able to be brought to a part. And then the machine can change between manual work and automated work. So the machine goes away, the worker comes and can continue. What we now see, and I think digitalization is one of the drivers, we're currently working on integrating also worker instructions. So with the same way like we can program machines, like we can manage machines, can integrate them into the digital factory, we also can integrate the worker and the worker instructions into the system. So, and this gives us much more flexibility. And I think with our products, what we really need is flexibility, because we do not build 20,000 times the same part a day. So every day is slightly different. So our systems, if we really want to automate, they need to be flexible and they need to adapt to each situation where we are. And the only way in doing this, from my point of view, is digitalization.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so maybe let's come to the last topic of today, so digitalization of supply chains. Before we do this, I mean, we don't know if there are questions from the audience, because here on the screens we still see the poll results. So maybe this could be changed. I don't know who's doing that, somewhere over there, probably. Yeah. Good, let's go ahead. Yeah, so I mean, supply chain, yeah, so mainly to you, Carsten, and Delphine. I mean, we already discussed here in several panels, and Jürgen, you mentioned it, I think, in your keynote speech already yesterday, the Next Era project. Yeah, so a data space for the supply chain. Yeah, maybe let's talk about this one a bit more. Yeah, so I mean, Airbus, of course, launched it. Diehl is involved. There is many other suppliers. So Delphine, can you tell us a bit more about this initiative and what are the expected benefits from Next Era?
Yes, maybe let's start with the why, because as an OEM, we are in a unique situation at the moment. We have the demand is there. We are ramping up on all our programs. And interestingly enough, it's so painful every day to make it happen that we truly believe that if we don't address this in a collective manner, we will just all fail together. So that's why we strongly believe that we have to, really build something collective and let's say offer a new generation of supplier collaboration platform with our partners to be able to integrate early warnings, prevent quality issues, answer to the everyday new requirements we get from the regulations on ESG, for example. And so that's what Next Era is about.
Yeah. Maybe I can add to that. When you look on it from a global perspective, it absolutely makes sense, because nowadays all companies in this room, and probably more than that, have actions in order to generate transparency, generate data, and share this data with other companies. And so every company is doing their own effort, implementing own systems and applications. From a global perspective, it absolutely makes sense to get that effort jointly so that we all benefit from that. And pointing out benefits, I think this has been mentioned this morning already. This is something to be worked on. What is the real value or benefit for each player in the game? Because then it's beneficial for all of us, and then it makes fun, and then we can enter into that world.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe to build on this, I mean, it's apparently still at the beginning. I mean, what is needed to really bring it to life? I mean, you mentioned the benefit to all players or all ecosystem members. I mean, what else needs to be done, Delphine?
Well, we have dozens of use cases, of course, but the most important step now is to really build this consortium, agree on the governance, and how to, let's say, federate the ecosystem around this collaboration.
Yeah.
And besides value and benefits for all of us, and this has been mentioned interestingly enough in the panel previous to ours, was trust. So when we want to collaborate, we need to be sure how is that data handled, what is done with that, for which purposes is that done. And so we need transparency on that so that we all cooperate, because it only makes sense if a lot of us cooperate there. It's not only for a few.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, then let's see which questions we have from the audience. Yeah, so one question we have here for Airbus, Delphine. Yeah, so how are these different digital solutions, how are they connected? I mean, there's Next Era, we just discussed about it, but there are apparently also others. Yeah, so Air Supply is existing solution, we have Skywise. So how is all this connected, and yeah, what's the bigger picture, so to say?
Well, that's of course a key question, because we have so many solutions. Now we need to make sure they are consistent to one another, and we cannot afford to have let's say different information coming from different systems, because then we will debate forever on the accuracy of the information. So yes, it's part of what our business architects are now doing, making sure that these different solutions are properly interacting with one another.
Okay, thanks. I mean, the second question is apparently also an interesting one. Yeah, so digitization is for sure not cheap. Yeah, so anyone who wants to take this question?
Well, I think that's a very important question, because this is something, how we do our everyday business today, that we generate a business case. So every time we invest in something, we want a return on invest. That accounts for digitalization just as well. On the other hand, sometimes we don't know what kind of benefits will be generated by that downstream. So this is something we can elaborate, and maybe sometimes it's, you take the first step, you try it out, and then you all of a sudden you see some very good benefits you haven't even thought about, and that might be the interesting part of that.
Yeah, I would like to add to that, because I think it's also an opportunity for everybody. I disagree that only the end customer gets the value. There are multiple new opportunities normally, and especially if they occur where you didn't expect them, it's a chance for a new business opportunity. It can be a business model also. So, and then if you have a customer, you have somebody who pays for it.
Yeah, okay. Norbert, there's one more question specifically for you.
Yeah, I see everybody's interested in digital shadow. Actually, it comes also, I said earlier, I don't like the term digital twin, because I don't know who in the room has a twin brother or sister. The twin is not the same like the other twin. Almost always the digital twin has some deviations, some differences of the copy, even if it's a copy. So I like very much the term digital shadow, because it's the digital version of a real machine or a real system. So we collect in the digital world the actual situation like it is. And this is something for us, we have to have really highly precise working machines. So nobody wants to have a drill hole on the wrong position on a fuselage. So it needs to be precisely the exact representation of the original machine. So, and the digital shadow gives us this opportunity to collect exactly this. And very often my colleagues from the simulation area, they say people are not simulating, they are rather emulating. But simulation is what we need in order to be really precise on the right spot.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, yeah, so unfortunately we already have the red light there. So maybe very short final statements. Yeah? So what do you think, what are the efficiency gains expected from digitalization and automation?
So some of the points which I mentioned, and that's a very good question because, and you can break it down, right? Design, I also mentioned that you can actually cut down the design times by using digitization, right? Once you have the right systems in place, data in place, you can do a lot of things in your design, whether it is iterations, iterative design, and so on and so forth, and cut down on those times when you look at design. Then also with the right digitization techniques in place, whether it is virtual prototyping or you want to see what you want to do in design, that's definitely something which is very, very, good in terms of advantage. Manufacturing also gives you, predictive maintenance, preventive maintenance. All these are things, offshoots of digitization, right? Once you do that correctly, have the right interoperability between your systems, you will get those benefits at the end of the day. What percentage varies from your business to business and what business case you're looking at.
Yeah, I agree to all you said. I would like to add something else because I think there's an opportunity also on our workforce topic that we have currently. What we see is digitalization and automation makes the work on the shop floor also more interesting, more accessible. So we can use digitalization to make the work easier also. So not everybody needs to have a diploma degree on engineering to manufacture on the shop floor, and it should be like that. And digitalization and automation helps us also to provide, well-paid jobs to those people that are on the shop floor because we need them. And,
upskilling.
You can upscale and you make it more attractive also. And I think we are meanwhile in an industry where we really have to care about the workforce. And this is also, I would see it as a benefit and as an asset to spread the word that we are a cool industry where it's fun to work.
And when we talk about efficiency gains, we discuss and expect numbers 40 to 60% in efficiency gains with digitalization. Those are very high numbers. But on the other hand, we need that because we heard this morning already, there's a great demand for data and transparency for all of us. So we need to find good solutions how to generate that data. And I think that is necessary to do that with digitalization.
I think the expectations are huge. Now, I would like to insist that digital transformation is far from being just a technological debate. If you want to drive digital transformation, you first need to focus on process efficiency, clear business rules, upskilling of your people, as we mentioned, at shop floor level to foster the user adoption and dissemination of the solutions, at business level to be able to specify what you need to tackle your pain points, and at leadership level, tomorrow, an industrial leader who doesn't understand how the system is working in the shadow will not be able to understand the issues and to drive the solution. And last but not least, and I know there are some DSIs in the room, maybe being a little provocative, you also need to rebalance now between the business functions and the IT functions. It's not anymore IT developing solutions for the business to apply. Now it's business looking at the pain points, specifying needs, and IT providing all the backbones, cybersecurity platforms, engines, etc. And this is a cultural shift that is easier said than done.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on your last statement. Yeah, so thank you very much. Very interesting discussion. Yeah, I think we touched a lot of different topics. I mean, my conclusion of this discussion would definitely be aerospace has left the valley of disillusionment. Yeah, so I think there are many tangible and practical solutions already out there. I mean, it's still a way to go, clear, but I think we are well underway. Yeah, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening. Yeah?
Thank you.